In this video, I want to talk about the anniversary of the 9/11 attack. And I hope the Democratic Party and Joe Biden is listening to this. A year and a half before the 9/11 attack, I was one of 3 witnesses in Iowa to a pre-event where 3 future terrorists and 1 FBI agent came to a landfill while the 3 terrorists dumped off evidence. They told us, the 3 terrorists, what was going to take place, when it was going to happen, and a bit about who was involved. And as soon as they walked out of the building, the person that was following them asked us what they said, what did they say, what did they tell us. They wanted to know what was thrown out, and we showed him what was thrown out. And he said, "Get rid of it." And he walked out. Well, we believe in this country. Well, I did. And I called the FBI, and that same guy came out, telling us never to talk about it again, don't tell anybody. It'd be treason if we did. And if they had to, they would eliminate us and our family lines. That moment created nothing but trouble for me and the other witnesses. And, when I first called, I thought, well, this is what you're supposed to do. I'll be on the news, or, I'll get an award, I'll get to talk to the president, he'll tell me how good I am. Oh, no, that's not what happened. We got death threats. And the threats and the trouble didn't end for years. I had a hard time with that. I had a hard time knowing that it was going to happen, and then I watched it on TV, knowing that I couldn't do anything. Then afterwards, we were still told not to tell anybody. And while the 9/11 Commission was going on, our houses were watched, our phones were monitored, our internet slowed down to a creeping pace, cars were parked outside our houses, they followed us everywhere we went. Nothing but trouble. So, it's been all these years. Been 20 years now. I still never got a phone call. In fact, if it wasn't for me coming forward and telling people what happened, they wouldn't know. And they don't know what to believe. They don't know if they're supposed to believe me or not. Well, it's interesting. When the terrorists were there at the landfill and are telling us about all this was going to happen, they said the people are the judge, the jury, the executioner, and the consumer. They told us of future events that they thought was going to be happening. And you want to know what? They're still unfolding. And we're still living this nightmare. What you did caused me so much trouble, I will never recover. Now, for what happened by being a witness, caused another problem in my life. You guys know Facebook? Well, the history of Facebook isn't what you were told. Facebook started when a young Mark Zuckerberg stayed at my home in 2003. While the government was watching my home. And when Mark found out that I had a business plan that I had been working on, and that it might generate billions of dollars, first he said, well, I think I can get you investors and he'll be the programmer, doing the coding. Then a young lawyer by the name of Mark Howitson got involved. And then Mark wanted to do it on his own or with his friends. And his friends from Harvard would be the investors. And he demanded that I give up the business plan. I eventually agreed to let them use it for a 15% return. But money was supposed to go to free clinics, shelters, and MDA, because when I originally came up with the business plan, I had a paralyzed friend that was in her 20s, that just started college, and I thought I'd give her options. And other people with health problems for they didn't have to get on the horrible state health care. Now there's an interesting thing. For every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Me being a witness at 9/11 event, and us having to hide it, and the true facts not being known, was like a getaway free card for the people that were involved. Well, when I was originally creating the business plan that Mark stole, that's now known as Facebook, even the event that happened, being a witness, went into that. When the terrorists said, the people are the judge, the jury, the executioner, and the consumer. Think about that. Starting a social network. So I had to think about this really hard. So when I came up with the business plan, it wasn't just a business plan. When Mark was here and we were talking about it, and I said how great it can be, I said it could also be very, very bad, and we have to make sure it's not used in that way. I've been trying to come forward all these years, and the government, even though I helped them, they threw me away like trash. They could go out of their way and help me in the past 20 years, and they didn't. And I'm still trying to bring it forward. Right now I'm trying to go through the Bar Association and the Supreme Court to expose what the lawyer did when he coached Mark and instructed him to steal the business plan, and they enriched themselves from it ever since. They kicked Trump off Facebook. I think it's just a show. If Mark still has my notebook and all my notes in it, then he knows that what is now Facebook is going to be the greatest propaganda machine in history. People are going to be so confused, they ain't going to know what to believe. And you're going to be able to sway votes, and people will be the judge, the jury, and the executioner, and the consumer. Well, I got these horrible diseases now, if you listen to my other videos, and they're affecting me pretty bad, but you probably can't see it just by looking at me. And it's going to cut my life short. There's still time yet, I hope, to see justice. Maybe it could still be used in a way, if I'd ever see something, to still help the people I wanted to help. My best friend didn't get it. She's gone. So, Democratic Party, I've had it. I was there, I did what I was supposed to do, and I was told by the government not to speak up. I was supposed to hide. I'm done. I voted for you. No more. You could call me. You could help me. But all I hear is excuses. Now, there was a time when I worked doing security, and I knew some of those government channels, and I knew how things worked. So I know what could be done, and I know what could have been done. Now, as far as not voting in my family, throughout generations, there has been people in my family named after the founders of this country because they believe so much in it. What happened to it? It's gone. The great country that we knew is gone. Organized crime has taken over. And they're getting wealthy and they're walking over everybody else.